Well, Carl, is there anything you can tell us about what's going on at Escape,
Okay.
or just with yourself? Or
Oh, good warm day here today. I think something that's happening all through the RV industry at the moment is a number of sales. So there's an awful lot of sales happening at this time. A lot of inventory, trailers being purchased. So we're practically out of inventory trailers. I think we might have a couple of 19s, which we're about to look at, and a few 21 classics left. But other than that, all the fifth wheels, all the 21 NEs, all the 17s are gone. I built a lot of inventory in the early part of this year. So yeah, things are going a little bit crazy, which is good. Crazy good. Other thing for people who are online here, if you don't already know about it, we have a really good delivery pricing on at the moment. It's in different bands. If you jump on there, have a look at where you are in which band you're in, and our guarantee is what that means that you can get a Florida for $29.99 US. We can get to Florida, and we have some good rates into other places. The thing to note is that not every place is a great place for pricing. So it's why we kind of kept those bands together, because there are some areas that really, from the trucking company perspective, they're trying to fill their load on the way back. So things like Colorado, some parts of Colorado, they don't get any backhaul, so they have to go across to California and come back. So the pricing isn't always kind of, I'm halfway in the band, the pricing should be halfway. Doesn't necessarily work out that way. So what we do is we commit that it'll be no more than the band or the line that's to the right of that band, and we get you a proper formal quote for your delivery. But really good rates on delivery right now. Another thing we're pushing is live stream orientations, and the real purpose of live stream orientations is to make sure that you get the opportunity to see systems multiple times, and maybe even hear different dialogue as we go around them. It won't always be me doing this, it's just me in the early stages, while Dave is sorting out all the deliveries that are going out, and we have a lot of deliveries going out, or 53 deliveries really since early March that have gone out the door here on the big trucks. So it's been a lot of work to put that together. So I don't have them available for these level 1 orientations, but hopefully maybe Harrison here behind the camera can start to give out the level 1, certainly the level 1 orientations, which is enough to get you up and running. And then if you want to get into all the maintenance of pulling out the anode on the water heater and doing getting into the water pump or different things, then, or even winterization at this point, then we're going to do that later on. It's not necessary right now for you. If you have any issues, you call us up, and we'll sort you out. So as of today, we have Linda's online here. She's going to be our chatter, responding to your questions. Linda has a great knowledge on the product, not in-depth knowledge from a parts and service or after sales perspective, but certainly enough to be able to get one of these trailers up and running and use them. So she's going to be my backup, because Dustin's been sick the last couple of days. And then hopefully we'll get Dave towards the end of this discussion, so any questions that Linda's not able to answer, or I'm not able to answer, then we'll have Dave as backup. So without further ado, let's get going into this 19-foot trailer. This is a relatively base trailer for us. You can see it has the standard awning, which is the manual awning, and the framed windows on it. I think they're a really beautiful combination when put together, and really works for the manual awning, having the framed windows in place. So they do mean the frameless windows to me are aesthetic, whereas I like these ones. That's just me, just personal. There are lots of people who like the other ones too. So all right, let's get going. We're not going to deploy this today. I think we need to do another video where we look specifically at manual awning and power awning and do the deployment. It's an exceptionally simple deployment, but we will video that again. I know it's in the videos we have online. I'll say this, and I say this all the time. The manual, the owner's manual, which you can get online, download from us online if you're waiting for a trailer, you haven't received a trailer yet, or if you have already received a trailer, you will have the orientations that Reese did a couple of years ago, and then you can obviously come to the live stream and ask questions. Let's get going. I don't want to waste too much time. I think with this unit we'll just quickly run around the outside, Harrison, first. and then we'll jump inside. So let's pretend we're going to pack this up to get going on our trip. This is the most important part. So we'll just start at this. I'll start at this back end and then work my. We'll go around this way. Let's go around this way. So we start off with close all the hatches. So get all your gear away. Boom. Close up and lock your hatches. Of course, we're going to make sure our awning is retracted and in a locked position, and of course the windows are closed as well. Okay. As you work our way around the back, there's really not much from an orientation perspective. The back of the trailer, except of course when you do hitch up before you get going, you should make sure your marker lights or your indicator lights are working. Working my way around, cord doesn't have the removable cord, so we would unplug the power and we would shove this one right back in and close her off. Of course, the option is to remove. That doesn't allow any critters to get inside, so we can plug that. And then we pull this out back in and close it over when we're packing up. Our sewer tube holder is down here. You're probably going to leave a campsite and then you'll dump any black and grey water that you have. This one has an external shower in place, so we would disconnect the shower hose. It's just a quick connect. We disconnect the shower hose. Obviously make sure your water is turned off. Close and lock away. This is your water heater. A quick chat about the water heater. We're just going to open this up. We can always do this inside too. This is the inside of the water heater. This is the two-way water heater, which is optional, as well as propane.
Reconnecting. Okay, we're back.
Yeah. Key point here is if you're using the electric, or you have this two-way option and you're using electric, you need to make sure that you have water in the system. So if you gently pull the relief valve here, you'll get some water to come out. So this will be your way to test that you have water in the system, and then you could power it on from this side. But I will turn it off when we're in transport. Pull that back up. Okay, oops, just a little off. There we go. Alright, so people, if you have a water tank, sorry, if you need to fill your water heater, then you need to fill your tanks. So there's two ways to fill the tanks. We have the city water supply here, and there is a mesh, just like a stainless steel mesh on here, and it's sitting over the top of a one-way valve. So this mesh, we want the cone, or the top part of it, to be facing out this way to us. If it's facing the other way, then what it's doing is stopping water going in rather than coming out. So if it's turned the wrong way, when you turn on your water pump, it's going to eject water out. So have this cone facing outwards. You can screw on your city water supply and that will fill your trailer for you. Option here is the hose fill connection. So hose is straight in and then you fill up from there. Now there are in some cases water pressure connections that are a bit high. The water pressure can be a bit high, so you can buy a pressure reducer, which will go on just before your hose connection to the connection on the site, and that kind of protects your hose and protects your piping and fittings on the inside here from being over pressurized. Moving on, this trailer has cable TV in there, so you want to remove that. You don't want to drag the cable down the road. Okay, moving on. Nothing to do in here. This is the fridge intake for the fridge, and the vent for the fridge is up top. Moving on again, nothing to do in here. This is our propane heater vent. So this will be hot, so be careful, I guess, of this. If it's running, this is going to be hot. Here's your dump valves. For your dump valves are down here for your sewage, and you would connect your sewer pipe on here and then run it off into the dump station area. Black first, pull the black, release the stuff, and then close it off. Pull the grey, clean out the pipe with the grey water, and then disconnect and put that pipe away back in the sewer tube holder that we showed at the rear of the trailer. And this light is nice and handy, convenient for to see what you're doing. Okay, work our way around. Not much to talk about up front. We would obviously close this down. Depending on the state and where you're traveling, you can travel with your propane turned on, or you may be required to turn it off. Of course, your fridge will also run on propane. So at this point, you would if you were doing it, you would turn off your propane tanks from there. A point on this indicator and valve here. So this is an automatic changeover. When it's pushed onto this side, basically there's a dot. We can't see it on this one, but there will be a marker light in here, or a bit of a light color in here. So when this is flipped over and we're green, it means I have fuel in this side. It will automatically flip over to this side. Sorry, it'll automatically flip over to this side and start pulling from this side. So if you come and you check your propane frequently, if this is pushed over to this side and it's red, then we flip it over, and then really it's an indicator to tell you if you have gas in this one or not. You flip it over and it'll go green, and we still have gas on this side, but you will need to replace this side. So it's like an automatic changeover valve. Put that back in place. Obviously, as we come back around, we'll close up this hatch, and then you would be working on sort of retracting your jacks, or the legs, or the stabilizers, the leveling legs that we have. So there is a speed tool with your trailer. This one doesn't have it. Oh, there it does. No, it doesn't. This one doesn't have it in there. But basically, it's like a tool with almost looks like a lug nut, sort of for taking the lug nuts off your vehicle. And it'll come underneath here, onto this, and that's your leveling leg there. So that would retract the legs up, keep it nice and snug. Final check on the exterior would be your tires. So good to keep a good check on your tires. Make sure you have 50 psi in the tires. Of course, these are 205 75 R15 8-ply tire. So a good trailer tire. Let's move to our door area. So if I was locking this up, I would have my deadbolt and my latch lock, and of course we can also replace this with a keyless entry one with the buttons. I don't have one on the other ones, so we can use that. Okay, opening things up. This one has a single step rather than the double step, so the last action would be to put the step away. Put the step away before we drive off. Okay. Work a little backwards. Let's go into the trailer. So we'll quickly familiarise you with some stuff here, Harrison, if you can keep your camera sort of half in, half out. As I come into the trailer, I have two light switches. This outboard light switch, so towards the door, is the exterior light, the porch light, which you can see. While we're here, Harrison, so we have this light here. One thing I forgot to mention, you can say it there, just angle it up, was the vent hood, the range hood vent. So this vent should be open during use, and if you're traveling, I would just gently close that off. Okay. So, exterior lights, then I have interior. This does the lights down the center. So Harrison will show you. Off, on, off, on. And another point to mention with your lights is that lights are double pole. So there's two lights, and if I push to the center, it turns them off, and if I push to the other side, it turns on one light. So you have the ability to have one light on, and if I turn it off and turn it back on, obviously I'm switched over to the single light side on here, and there's a double light side, off and on from the main switch on the side. The lights underneath the sides here, run down the sides. So this one is a double, but there'll be singles in the other areas, and it just works the same. So it's on and off from here. So while we're here, we'll work our way through. Nothing really to talk about in the sink. Just make sure everything is away. Move forwards. This unit has a 2-burner cooktop in it to operate the cooktop. It's make sure your gas is on for a start, and then gas on, igniter, just like any home does. If you have the oven part does not auto ignite, so you have to light that with a lighter. Oh, we don't have one in here. So you would light that with a lighter, and once your pilot is up and running, then you can sort of leave it on for the duration of your stay, and turn it off then before you travel, before you get moving. Above our cooktop, we always have a range hood, and this is a little bit more of a slimline range hood than we've had in the past. And you obviously got fan on, light off, and turn everything off before we get going. Slider windows. We don't even talked about these yet. We've had all the frameless hinge openers, top hinge opening windows. So the slider windows. Oops. Yeah. So as you can see, how that opens, and then we would close it off and lock it in place. Some people like the framed windows because there's no bug screen on the other part of the window, and they feel like they get more light in because they don't have a bug screen in the way. So another sort of pro for these guys. I think I talked about this before. This is just a friction on a string is what sets the tension on your blinds, and you can manually adjust that by simply opening this off, and you can loosen off the friction on these strings if you want to make it looser. And of course, if you make it tighter, it just makes it a bit stiffer to pull up and down. Okay, moving our way around. This is very important to you. So this is your panel, and this panel gives you your battery, your fresh water, black water, and grey water tanks. And of course, it gives you from empty to full, whether it's electrical charge or whether it's your tank levels. This one, the batteries are full because we have it plugged in and it's charging. No fresh water, no black water, thankfully, and no grey water. So that will be our readouts up there. I'll just quickly talk about the water heater and the water pump. So this is our water heater on, and our water pump, and we tend to use our water pump as an on-demand system. I can hear it running. We like to have water in there when we run the pump. So typically we say use it in somewhat of an on-demand system. Turn the water pump on when you need water, and then just turn it off. If you leave it on, it's fine to leave it on, but what happens is over time, every couple of hours or time, it kind of auto turns itself on, spins up. So in the middle of the night, you'll hear your water pump would turn on. So, best practice, just turn it off if you don't use it. If you don't need it. Working our way around the rest of this unit. This one doesn't have captain's lights or anything in, but if it did, there would be just a simple switch. We want to get round to the Dometic digital controller. So this is our digital controller, and the digital controller is capacitive, which means you just touch it. So it works off touch and heat, as opposed to being a button that you have to push really hard. Instructions for that are in the manual. It's fairly simple. It's you push it to turn it on, and then you can set the speeds that you want the air conditioning fan to run at, and you can also set the temperature on there. It runs in heat or in cool. It doesn't run in both heat and cool at the same time. So if you're cooling, you're cooling. You're not heating. So you need to set it to cool, and vice versa for your heating. It will control your furnace if you have the digital. So in other words, if you have the air conditioning put in at the time of build, you will get a digital thermostat, and that digital thermostat will control your furnace down below. Down there. And there is the furnace as well. So that's nice and handy. This unit, we have it's a propane detector in place. Okay, yours might be in a slightly different position. I know they've kind of moved around just a little bit, but propane detectors can be very sensitive, especially in new trailers. So if it's beeping and going off, and it's a brand new trailer and you've had it closed up for quite some time, it might just be that it's sensed some off gassing from just the materials that we have or that you have, and it can go off. So you can quickly silence them for a little bit and say air the unit out. Smelly dogs will do the same, or smelly husbands will do the same thing. They just have to go off if they're too close to it. What else? Not much else to talk about on the air conditioner because it's run from your digital thermostat. I think the fridge is the next best thing to talk about. This unit has the 5 cubic foot fridge in place, automatic, so it has its own little individual freezer compartment up top. So it's like the smaller fridge. The advantage of the 5 cubic foot fridge in this trailer, of course, is that we can have the microwave mounted on top above it. If we had the 6 cubic foot, it would run all the way up. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about it now rather than later. On your fridge, this is your on and off switch. So that's very simple, right? It shows you the on is in, and therefore now it's moving to on. We have, let's just talk about AC and gas. So this is now flipped over. It wants to run on gas. Okay, that's clicking, and eventually it's going to flip itself back over. So we're now in auto, and it will run itself on AC preferentially because the AC is plugged in. There is no gas anyway, so this just wasn't going to work in standard. AC, DC, I would say avoid DC unless you absolutely know what you're doing. And the reason I say that is DC is coming from the batteries in your trailer. And if your vehicle is connected, so you have to be driving somewhere and you've put this on DC, and then you drop in and you go in for a sandwich somewhere and you spend an hour or so in there, you could come out and find that your batteries in your trailer are dead, but also the batteries in your vehicle are dead, because it will pull the batteries down as well. Because remember, the batteries are, your vehicle is charging your trailer. So if you turn it off and you happen to put this into DC mode, it will suck your batteries down really, really fast. So I would say AC or gas is an acceptable place to be. Okay, when I work into the temperature, typically we say put it on 3. It's not gonna get colder faster by having it in 5. That's just ultimately how cold it will get, is 5. So if this is empty or this is warm and I want to cool it down, put it on 3. It's going to cool as fast as it can. It's going to put all its energy into cooling to get you to 3. And then when you're at 3, if it's still not cold enough, then you can push it up and move it to 4. Check it again after a while, and then go back and check it, and then we'll move it again if you feel like you want to. So that's the operation of your fridge. Basically, you plug it in, you turn it on and leave it on, but I would avoid going to DC, and it's on all the fridges. Microwaves are just self-explanatory. There in the microwaves, not much else to talk about with it, and there's nothing else to talk about down this end. We will push on just a little further. I'll jump to the max fan, and then we'll quickly go into the bathroom. So we talked about max fan before. You can drive down the road with your max fan open or closed. So this is now into a closed position. So let's say I get it into my closed position and I want to lock it there. We lock it by pushing this knob up, and that now has locked it. So it locks against some splines that are on this plastic cap that's on here. To turn the unit on and off, the controls are over here. Just open this up there, Harrison. So I've opened this up to turn the unit on. It's pulling air, it is. So it's a fairly slow speed here. I'll turn it up momentarily. So we get some air. I can feel the air pulling right through here, which is good. We know that part works. To reverse direction, so we want to pull air in rather than sucking air out, I can push the in-out button, and that will basically bring her down to a slow stop and then slow start it back up again. It's pushing air now into our face, which is nice.
Okay.
Feels lovely. And of course, if we wanted to, we can also set the unit at 78 Fahrenheit, and at 78 it's going to it's going to maintain at that temperature for us. And we're not really that hot here at the moment, so it's not going to do anything, and you can turn it off. So a very simple operation on the max fan, and all the instructions are actually up here as well. Inside your bathroom, couple key points inside the bathroom. The drain is in place here. This one's nicely opened first. You can see it's on a little bit of a screw there. So just put that back in, twist it in place, nice and snug, and that's locked. And then nothing's going to come back up through the through there. It's very rare, but it can happen. Then we have our vent fan over on the roof there of the shower unit. So for the vent fan, you have up, and there's a button. The button is here. Turns it on. It's pulling air. So now we'll turn it off, and you want to close this vent. So we pull it down, and that kind of makes it nice and snug, and closes the vent. So now the vent is closed for transport. Again, you probably close that window. Probably close this window off. Perfect. And lock it. And then make sure everything's secure in your medicine cabinet, and the water here is all turned off. There's a light switch in the bathroom as well. Nice and simple. Lights on and off. All 12 volt. All the lights are 12 volt. Turn that back on so people can see. Alright, continuing to move our way down around the trailer. One thing, some people have asked us about, and it's the jack antenna. It typically sits somewhere around here, and it's really a directional gain antenna, so you can sort of set direction and you can set gain on it, and it's kind of just there's a little, there would be I'm imagining it right here, but there's an interface here where you can sort of just change anyone one of us who remember having an old aerial and sort of changing the direction of it to try and pick up a better signal. That's essentially what you do with this, and then you can sort of work on the gain just to try and improve the signal quality, how it processes it and brings it in. Okay, we'll work our way back into what's underneath in this trailer. Now, this one has optional surge protector, and the surge protector and the electrical management system is all there in one. And what that's doing really is sort of protecting the internals of your trailer, making sure you have the right type of power coming in so we don't fry anything. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the orientation room. This is the fuse panel, and this is our battery disconnect. And our battery disconnect is important if we're leaving the trailer unattended for any period of time. There are parasitic losses coming from your propane detector, and you would want to turn off the battery, or turn it off such that the battery is not being drawn down by anything inside the trailer. And this is a very simple switch. Battery on, and battery off, and if I turn it, it'll turn all the power off inside the trailer. So, and handy because you can tell exactly what position you're in. So it's off at the moment. It's not actually turned. This connect switch is not turned on. If I come back under the other side, so this trailer does not have an inverter in it. I come back to the other side. We just have some plugs and switches. Nothing else to really talk about. Okay, so for those who have a 19 that have an inverter and have the solar system, we're going to quickly go and talk about that in the orientation room. I've done it on every orientation, level 1 orientation that we've done so far, so you can always flip back for more information about it. And if you want to see what it looks like inside a trailer, you can have a look at some of our old orientations. I think, except for the 17, which we haven't done yet, all the other trailers have an inverter in place inside them. Okay, those are the key points. One thing I didn't point out, Harrison, and we can do this when we get inside. Electrical management system, the readout is right here, protected underneath this in your trailer. And what this will do is this will give you the error code reading from the surge protector and the electrical management system box that's inside. And there's two modes. Obviously there's bypass and normal use. For the most part, you're going to be in normal use, and it's going to tell us the voltage. It's going to tell us the error status, and the error status here is E0. And E0 is the good place to be. E0 is what we always want to see. Okay. All right. How's Linda doing there on the questions?
Pretty good. There's a couple
Side
that
of things.
she's left for you for the end.
Left for me or left for Dave. If we can get Dave, I'm hoping he can join us. He's got a lot of customers to get back to today, and I kind of said to him, focus on getting current customers who have issues, resolve all of that first, then come see us if you have time about just after 4 o'clock.
Which we're actually just at 4 now.
So we'll go do the orientation room, quickly look at the electrical system, and then we'll work our way back to the trailer. Hopefully David can join us and we'll have this all wrapped up before 4:30.
Great.
Okay. All right. Electrical system. So anybody who's ordered, oh yes, good point. So I'm going to plug this in just because it takes 3 minutes for this to kick in. So every trailer obviously comes with an adapter like this, which allows you to go to your standard sort of power input. So we're going to plug this in. We're in bypass. Now it's off. Okay. It's in bypass mode, which means it allowed itself to work. There's a 3-minute delay here. So what's going to happen is we're taking power as though we were at campsite, and the power is coming into our trailer. This is going to wait 3 minutes before it decides, before it tells us what's going on. And the reason for it is and what most often happens is that you get an E1, and E1 is reverse polarity. So when you get to a trailer site, they've essentially wired the 2 pins backwards in some way or other, and you have reverse polarity, and if you have reverse polarity, this is going to kick up an E0 and it won't work. So you're best to move to a different campsite or campsite or a different site altogether within that campsite. So that's that part. Up here, if you're running a generator and you're powering the unit, you would flip this onto bypassing the EMS, which is bypassing this. So you need to be mindful that you're now bypassing it. So if you do have really dirty power, or you have a spike or a surge of some sort, you're likely not to be protected. So you just need to be very cognizant of that. That should take 3 minutes to turn on, so hopefully I can get through this in quick enough time so we can see what happens. But when it does come on, Harrison is going to flip over, and when it does come on, we'll see the light change. The light will come on because it's all connected back to this panel. So for anybody who has solar, the solar panel is 190 watts, puts out about 9.3 amps when it's clean. So you got to make sure it's clean. So, and in good full sunlight. So it'll pump 9.3 amps. All this does, this just comes down into a brain, hence the solar charger or solar controller. And then from the solar controller, it goes down to the batteries. So all it does is charge the batteries. So your solar panel does not charge and it does not power anything inside your trailer. All it does is charge the batteries, and it will always charge the batteries, even when the battery disconnect is thrown. All the battery disconnect does is stop everything to this side of the disconnect working. So you see that just came on. We're on E0, which is good. So always charging the batteries, and then to determine how much charge goes into the batteries and to keep your batteries in a good, healthy state, that's where the solar controller comes in. So the solar controller comes in and it'll tell me where we are in terms of voltage within the batteries, and it'll also tell me how much is going into the batteries. So how much charge is going into the batteries, and we can flick through that on the different controls here. There's also a Bluetooth out here, so there's an app for your phone. I think this is pretty nice, the idea that just by looking at your phone you can see what the state of your batteries are, the charge in your batteries, or what's going into your batteries. Remember, if you take the solar panel option, you have to take the 2 6-volt battery option as well. So anyone who's got this already knows that, and they've got 2 6-volt batteries, and that gives them 225 amp hours. So you get 9.3 amps, and the batteries will hold 225 amp hours. So then you can tell how many amp hours you have available for the equipment inside your trailer, or for the most part inside your trailer, your lights are taking practically nothing. Your propane heater will take some when it's running, and those are the two biggest power consumers. Of course, you can't run your air conditioning straight off your batteries. There just isn't enough current. So this goes to the solar controller. The solar controller goes to the batteries. If you have an inverter, if you've chosen the option for an inverter, your reason for doing it would be that you want to take energy from the batteries in direct current, in DC, bring it to your inverter, and then have the inverter convert it to alternating current, which is your standard sort of 120, 110, 120 volt that you have inside your house, assuming you're in North America. So this, all it does is converts DC to AC, and the AC then flows out either into a little sub panel that we have, which will then give 120 volts to all the sockets in your trailer, or you can just have a single socket, single plug socket coming off this inverter. So there's two options on that. If you want to turn your inverter on, there's a 40-second delay on it, and you would turn your inverter on by pressing and holding the AC button here, and we can see this has come on, and it will take time, and then it would engage the inverter. Alright, battery disconnect we talked about inside the trailer. This is the old style battery disconnect. This is the new style battery disconnect that we have, and it will disconnect all the power from all the items inside your trailer, but it doesn't stop your battery from charging. Okay. Sub panel, so this is where all your breakers or your fuses are. Inside the sub panel, should you need to go there in case you burn something out. Okay, moving through, then there's a transfer switch, converter, and running through into our electrical management system. So that's kind of the electrical. That just isn't that complicated. I mean, if you really get into it and you start measuring things and really trying to troubleshoot, it can be a little bit more complicated. But in a nutshell, solar panel charges batteries, and inverter changes current from DC to AC. So when you're doing docking, you have current, but you never have enough current from your batteries to drive the air conditioning. And you never want to drive your fridge from your batteries unless you really know what you're doing. Okay, we talked about the heater, the water heater. This is something for a later discussion when we talk about pulling the anode out and doing service or maintenance on it. But anyone with a new trailer does not need to even worry about that right now. This is what the water pump looks like. Actually, we didn't point out the water pump in the 19, because we didn't lift the bed area. So this is the water pump, and there's a little filter. And the water pump, again, in our maintenance series, there's a little adjustable sort of set screw in here where we can adjust the operation of the water pump if it happens to be grinding or not functioning correctly. That is also in the owner's manual. Again, the owner's manual is the most important thing to go through. Digital readout, if you have air conditioning, you will get this. This will then control your furnace. If you do not have air conditioning installed, and it is an option, and it can be installed afterwards, but if you do not have air conditioning installed initially, you will have the analog controller, and this will control your furnace. So if you have air conditioning installed after the fact, then you would have the analog controller, not the digital controller, and you would control your air conditioning manually from the air conditioner itself. Okay, and we talked about the readouts from here. So we've been through all of that. Talked about the range hood. It's an old style range hood. We talked about operating on the gas, so that part is done. We talked about the oven, how you have to light that yourself. We talked about power awnings in all of our other orientations. So if you have a power awning, I would go to one of those orientations that we talked about it in, because we did some detailed work on it, and there's a very important point about a disconnect switch on your power awning if you have one. So I would go there and have a look at that. We talked about the fridge already, and this is our smaller fridge, 3 cubic foot fridge. I think this is 3.
So
really only ever see, like we nearly always, it's the 6.5 cubic foot is the big one that people go for. That's anything else in there. Okay, so that's kind of an Escape is fairly easy to own, easy to operate. Okay, if you start getting into the maintenance, and then if you go onto the forum, there's reams and reams of people who've done lots and lots of different things in the breakdown of maintenance and how to maintain these systems. But in general, the use of them is really simple. Anyone can do it. Okay, let's go. Oh, that was perfect timing. We're finished in here, and we're just going to go answer any questions that Linda has bounced off to us. Linda's online today doing the answering for all the basic stuff that at least I know. Oh, this is Dave, by the way.
Hello.
In case anyone was wondering. Looks like the haircuts are open, Dave.
Nope.
No? The wife. See, now, Dave's wife can cut hair.
She tried.
Oh. I was the experiment.
That's right.
Okay, so we did 19, Dave.
Okay.
We're just going to quickly squeeze in and have a look at any questions. Let's see if there's anything we need to answer here. People. Okay. See all my emails and adventure motorcycling.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
That's relevant.
Not relevant. And our sales. Now, where am I at? Okay, I need to go to Twitch, right? Well, this gives a great opportunity for people to, I guess, throw some more questions up for us. Twitch, Escape Trailer TV. It's a bit busy, eh?
Oh, it is. Lots of trailers going out this week, too.
Yeah, lots of trailers going on.
17, 18.
Lots of sales happening too.
Yeah.
It's non-stop. Like,
that's good.
it's busy, eh?
Everybody's opening up. Lots of trailers going out this week, too.
Yeah, lots of trailers. Okay, I'm like a parrot there. Okay, I don't see any chat coming.
So I think Daryl's gonna repost them here now.
Oh, okay. I guess I can back this in properly.
All the weights on this thing. I think it's the trailer that's on an angle.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is flat. I'm wondering about the tweedy looking coating on the wall to the right side of the stove. So that's the waterproof laminate.
Right.
Sort of coating. So would a command hook be usable there and remove without damaging that coat? Oh, command hook is one of those pressure sensitive adhesive hooks.
Well, I think that would be the safest way to do it. You wouldn't want to put it on any of the vinyl, right? So
Yeah, I think that would be probably the best place to have it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not going to pull it off. That stuff's pretty tough.
Right.
Yeah. It takes a bit to get it cut. So remove properly by pulling the tab on the hook down. So yeah, with the command ones, you pull it down, it stretches out the adhesive,
Yeah, I think it'd be fine.
and then it comes off. That should be totally fine. Yeah, should be totally fine. So Daryl, was there anything else? We're in about 15 to 30 second delay here.
I believe someone asked. There we go.
Question on the battery disconnect. Does the breakaway switch still have power when the battery switch is in the off position?
Yes.
Yes.
It's wired directly to the batteries. You're getting full 12 volt switch on or off.
Yeah, so if your battery disconnect is switched on, which would be off.
It doesn't matter if it's on or off.
It's
your
always
breakaway
connected.
cable's
So your
always
breakaway,
on.
it's a safety it's a safety system.
That's right.
And it's always on.
It's always on.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I'll hang something up in that stove wall. Go for it. I'm sure there are lots of people who have.
Pots and pans.
Why is the thermostat mounted so low? Well, that would be the thermostat being the. No, it wasn't low. I mean, it might have.
It's low relative to the ground, I guess. But if you're in the bed, it's kind of a good position if you're sleeping, I think.
Yeah.
On the what trailer?
19. So it's up above the bed.
Yeah.
Kind of where the TV, just below where the TV arm would go.
Well, if it was up any higher too, then we wouldn't be able to mount the TV.
That's right. Yeah. So I think the answer there, New York Hillbilly, is we mount it there because the TV bracket typically goes above it. typically
right.
goes above it. Yeah.
I think that's it. Does anyone else have any other questions, or otherwise I think that's it.
Yeah, we're doing great. I mean, we know a lot of people have been 415. So a lot. Harrison did the stats, Twitch stats, yesterday. So even though we don't mind doing these, I don't mind sort of hammering these out on a twice a week sort of basis, especially for new people to come and see and be able to ask questions directly to us,
right?
In the chat. So we're happy to keep doing this, but the amount of views afterwards is really big.
Oh, good.
Really big. So we started doing these live streams, a week and a bit ago now?
2 weeks, I think. 2.5 weeks ago.
We're somewhere around 4,000 individual views on all the videos that we've done over the last so people are going back, obviously. I don't think it's 4,000 new people. Our unique people have gone in there. I think people have been going back over it and over it and over it again. But the nice part about the streams that Harrison's uploading is that they can jump past all the Carl chit chat stuff,
but they don't need to hear,
and get straight to the point.
Right.
Right. This is what we're after. Just jump past all this. The whole purpose of a live stream is we kind of try and make it a little bit more, I don't know, real.
Okay.
Social, interactive, and a little more real, and less like a pre-canned YouTube video type idea. So that we do it for you guys.
Well, that's good.
And we keep doing it. We've had very few comment cards coming back recently. We've seen, but it's like anything, we get the comments on Facebook, and we get the comments on people send me direct emails and stuff, which is totally fine.
Especially because some people are watching it after.
Yeah,
it's more people who watch it after than there are people who watch it live.
That's true. So the comment card maybe is of less value. So actually on the fly here, then thinking, if that is the case, should we open up the comment card thing and say, listen, you can, if you put comments,
I'll put on the YouTube
it's almost
video.
like we don't mind what the comments are about. Just refer to, hey, I was watching your 19 live stream orientation there the other day, and I noticed X, Y, or Z. It'd be good if you could cover the hitches more, or you could cover the deployment of the manual awning more, or whatever. So we just kind of need ideas on what to do from the content perspective for you, because we've covered a lot of things already, but we're happy to redo them.
Yeah, I'll make a survey. It'll be in the bio on YouTube. Yeah.
And maybe cut it. Maybe we'll just chop out all the unnecessary stuff.
Oh yeah.
If you had, would you have? Did this make you feel better? Type.
Oh yeah.
So we just get rid of all those questions, all the nicey stuff, and we'll cut to the point. Any chance of a Texas rally this fall? Man, everyone has their opinion about what's going to happen as we move into the fall this year, and everyone has their opinion about when the borders will be open. And I maybe we should put a call into Justin and say, hey, Justin, our people would like to get an exact date on when you're going to open the borders again.
We got plans.
Yeah. So at the moment, they're saying June 21st, maybe, for the border to open, and then we'll see what happens down in the States and what happens with us. But our biggest fear is they close the borders down on June 21st. They open the borders on June 21st, and then they decide to close the borders on June 30th or July 21st, or
hard to make plans.
Or something. So, I mean, if I was gambling, and I'm not a gambler, but if I was, and I probably get it wrong anyway, but if I was gambling, I'd be gambling that those borders are not going to open up until the end after the summer, because I think what they're specifically going to do is try and cut down on the amount of cross-border vacationing that goes on.
And then once they do that too, it's like, how big of a group could you have if you had something going on, right?
So chance of a Texas rally this fall, I'd say it's pretty low at this point. I'd love to get back down to Pine Knot again this year, like I did last year, but I don't even know if that's going to happen this year. Now, what I do know is there's a rally going on down Eggs on the Hiawassee River. It's called, or Eggs on the Hiawassee River, and that's going on this weekend.
Okay.
And they have over 120 people going to that one. I think So down there in that region on the Hiawassee River.
It's a good group.
And so a large number of escape owners are going to be there. And we're sponsoring this event. And
we can't go, but we're sponsoring.
We can't, but we're sponsoring. I had wanted to be there. I had said to John last year we'd definitely try and get there this year, but it all kind of went a little bit crazy. But we're sponsoring it, and what we've done is we've arranged a solar panel kit you know, a Go Power portable solar panel kit.
Right.
So we sent a portable solar panel kit down to them as a prize.
That's a good price.
As a key sort of prize.
Yeah, nice.
Because it's handy. Plug it into your ZAM port and off you go. Or
there you
connect
go,
to your
right.
batteries or whatever it might be. So that's where that's at.
Perfect.
Yeah, good. Okay, well that's kind of enough for the chit chat.
Yep.
All right, we're getting bored now. Gotta move on, do some work. All right, guys. 4:20. We're gonna wrap this one up if there are no more questions. Say thank you very much.
Have a good day.
From Escape Trailer, this is Carl, built just for you.